So let's jump over to Photoshop, or go ahead and open up the PNG file that we mentioned in the resource pack earlier, and let's take a look at our template. Now, there's a lot going on here. As you scroll down, you can see that there's several sections to the page, and there's quite a bit going on in some of these sections. Now, in thinking about HTML as just a set of boxes, it can help us look at this design as well. So for example, when we convert this into a template, this logo right here is going to be a box of some kind. Over here, this account icon will be a box, and this account text will also be a box. Together, they might make up a larger box. And every other component or element we look at on this page will eventually become a box of some kind. The initial trick for us is going to be figuring out which HTML tags we should use to describe these boxes and what CSS styles we're going to use in order to have it display in a way that looks aligned with what we have in the design. Now, there are several approaches you can take when figuring out how to break down a design into its various elements. But probably the most common approach now is called an atomic or component-based approach. With that approach, what we try to do is break down the boxes on the page into their smallest components, which could be called atoms or elements. So for example, I'm pointing at this heading here in this section. It would be tough to break this heading down any more than it already is if we think about it just as a heading. So it can be a good exercise as you look at this page to try to break it down into its elements. So based on what you know about HTML, where would you draw the boxes around the different elements? If you feel like taking that challenge, go ahead and do that, but I'm about to show you my breakdown in just a moment. You ready? Okay. I'm going to hit Tab in order to display the palettes and toolbars, and I'm going to make the component breakdown folder visible. So what I tried to do here was draw boxes around the simplest elements on the page, elements that we can't break down anymore. So for example, we have the title here. That's something that can't really be broken down anymore. We have a paragraph, we have a button, we have the arrows for what looks like a slider here, as well as the navigation at the bottom, the individual elements in the navigation, and so on. Now these boxes will help us decide where to focus our attention first. For many front-end developers, the first step is to tackle typography, which is the text on the page, how it looks, and how each textual element relates to other textual elements. So for example, this title here, this paragraph text here, this title, these subtitles here, more paragraph text. Tackling these is a good first step in the process of converting this design into a template. Another good reason to focus on these basic elements first is that we'll be able to reuse these elements throughout other pages on the site and perhaps even this page, and establish something called a style guide to help guide future design decisions based on this one design. I'm going to hide these boxes here. So where exactly do we start? If we're going to begin with typography, there's a lot of typographical elements on this page. Well, this title here looks like a good candidate. It's on a white background, so we don't have to adjust anything like we would have to with this title, where we'd need some kind of dark background behind the text in order to allow it to be visible. This title is also repeated. If we look down, we can see the same kind of styling here, even though the background is a different color, and the same styling here. Also, even though these are smaller, they share the same look and feel as this one. It's all capitals, the letters are spaced similarly, the colors look the same. So I think this heading might be a good place to begin.